It's the beginning of another week. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello.
Good morning.
Hi. How was your weekend?
Amazing.
Tell us what
Actually,
happened.
very amazing. It was my cousin's wedding. Yeah. So I mentioned it on Friday that I went for the traditional and I'm going for the white. And one of the caterers actually watched the show. The guy helped me package a wagon. As in the sauce, the plantain. It was like you mentioned it on the show. I was so happy. I knew that it was this wedding you are coming for. So when you saw me, I was really happy. I took pictures with them. It was fun seeing the entire family, you know. And then I'm meeting cousins that we've not met before. You know, I think that we've gotten so busy as a society that we're losing this extended
I totally can relate.
touch,
When the Fuja, my mom's family, Fuja, come together, I always feel bad. I don't know a lot of people, but it's a beautiful family. I mean, we all have cheeks and we all have round faces. So you just see all of us, we look alike.
You know that this is
our family.
This is my people.
These are my people. But it's just that we don't see each other, and it's really, really sad.
So before you start meeting each other on introduction day, where your child is married into your family, and they'll be like, where are you from? It's Lagos Island. Is which one? We are cousins. So we need to start reconnecting.
Nima, how's your weekend?
The weekend was nice, and in view of the family discussions, I'll be hosting the Akashats this December. I saw in the group my sisters and brothers debating who will be hosting. I was expecting the elder ones to take it up, and then they pushed it to the Zibiri. So we are hosting the Akashats end of the family. That's my own family, my dad's children. We do that annually. So they'll be coming, but it was a terrible weekend for me. I was so sick, I didn't understand what was wrong with me.
Really?
It was the Peace and Unity Conference on Sunday. I was supposed to be there at the Oriental Hotels. But if you had to use rope to drag me out of the house, I just was so weak throughout, throwing up and feeling so sick.
Throwing up.
Yeah.
Yes, you're sitting there looking pretty.
It's packaged.
How you doing, Mariam?
I'm doing fine. My weekend wasn't too much better than Onyema's own because my son has been ill. And I don't even understand. I've treated malaria too often. I'm just waiting for exams to be over, and then we'll do like a proper comprehensive test. But I'm worried. You know, I'm even ashamed, embarrassed that the teachers may think that I'm some sort of, you know, I'm not a very good mother. My children are always falling ill. Honestly, I really need help. And my own reoccurring sore throat and stuff.
There's a season where it happens to
I've had to clean the house with, because even that Saturday as sick as I had to mop the entire house myself. I was throwing up, so I felt my children would pick it up from the wall, so I sent them out, and I dragged myself to mop and do the cleaning.
Cool. I had a very, very busy weekend. Extremely. In fact, I'm even happy this weekend has gone because I have been very apprehensive of this past weekend. I had two exams to do. I had a major event on Friday, which is that one of my clients was having a retreat. I had to be there. That's why I couldn't be on the show. And Sunday, I was hosting the Pearl Awards at the hotel yesterday. I'm just so happy this weekend has passed. Now I can go back to my normal life because it was a busy weekend. But thank God, it was nice. Okay, it's Monday. Lots of stories. Let's go on a break. We'll be right back. We're gonna start with the nation. Buhari killing of Kogi, actually it should be murder of Kogi PDP woman, barbaric and callous. La Sepa seals water parks, 20 others. $44.9 million wire deals, probe of links with Amnesty Cash begins. Conwa directs lecturers to join payroll. ASU Bars member, that's the other group, the new faction for ASU. Chinese business community to back Lagos. And Burna Boy to Baba, others shine at Afrima. Okay, should we start with Konwa?
I want to talk about this La Sepa story.
Okay, let's take La Sepa.
Yes, because you know we had them on the show concerning noise pollution, and in honoring the promise they've made to Lagosians to reduce noise, Dolapo Fashawe, who's the head of the team, has shut down water parks. In addition, shut down 20 various facilities for environmental related issues, and they're going to be cutting or going into churches, mosques and hotels and nightclubs. They've said it openly that if you make any reports to La Sepa for environmental challenges that you are facing within your area, they will respond. And water parks is one of the first that they've shut down concerning this pollution. So I want to applaud that.
I also like them to start from the suburbs, and then they should also have on what they call camouflage on Eden unsuspected officials around, moving around. Because yesterday was Christ the King. And if you see the entourage that the Catholic Church led, my son was sleeping, napping in the afternoon. I was sick. The boy was terrorized awake with the vuvuzelas they were blowing.
Yeah.
So I grew up in a Catholic primary school, so I know. But this new trend of vuvuzelas, it was terrorizing. The noise was really terrorizing.
When Lasapa came here, I didn't know she was really serious. I mean, they're not playing. They are not playing. They've started shutting down.
They should come and start on our side.
So it's interesting. Let's take one more story. Conwa directs lecturers to join PO.
The other arm, recently there's the Congress of University Academics broke out from ASU, and they are willing to join the IPPS that the federal government has created to curb corruption for the universities. They've joined, and they have said that they've directed all their members to join. ASU is insisting that they would not, that the federal government should adopt their own system. But Conwa is willing to join. Yes, today they've directed that.
Okay, let's move on to The Punch. States lock horns with federal government over road projects refund. Grandma kills 2-day-old baby to stop daughter's marriage. U.S. indictment, Buhari's aid group disagree over Onyema. Osho evacuates, destroys cows, sheep killed by lightning. Oh, they've evacuated it. Somebody went there. Oh, great. FG shortlists 87 directors for PEMSEC jobs. 2 missing, 11 rescued as boats collide in Lagos. Arrest Kogi PDP women, leaders killer, Buhari tells police. Varsity's IPPIS begins today. ASU urges boycott. Hate speech sponsor recants, removes death penalty. Okay, let's start with the human interest story.
Yeah, so there's this 42-year-old woman, a grandmother, who allegedly poisoned her 2-day-old granddaughter because her daughter got pregnant by a man that she didn't want her to get married to. She came for Omugo, as they say, and the daughter went to have her bath. By the time she came, the baby was gone. And she confessed to the police that she gave the baby sniper because she just didn't want her to marry the man. So when they say some people have, this is witchcraft, simple and short, because I don't understand.
Grandmother.
That she had spoken, interesting that she had spoken to her pastor about it, and the pastor says, don't do anything to this pregnancy. And then so she decided to wait until she had the baby to do what she did.
Speechless.
Yes, that's it.
Okay, let's find another story in The Punch. States lock horns with federal government. You see, the states are insisting that the federal government must pay them back. Now, according to the Minister for Roads and Works, he had said that all the states had come together and they had requested about almost ₦1 trillion from the federal government as reimbursement for the roads. And they said, leave federal roads alone. Don't touch. According to him, don't rehabilitate our roads. We'll come and fix it ourselves. But unfortunately, they're saying they've already spent money on these federal roads, so and they are demanding.
I feel Minister Fashola's plight in that we are looking for money to do the roads currently ongoing, but you can't also say that they shouldn't fix federal government roads because it's within the states.
That policy.
But if states have money to fix, so why must you collect money from federal government? Right? That's my point.
That's another angle.
Because this is a law. It's a law issue. Because the law is saying this is a federal road.
It's a federal road.
Your people apply that road.
Of course, the way they share the allocation every year, federal still goes with the highest. So this small money that we have as states, if we use it to do a road that's costs
refund us since you get more of the money.
When is federal going to get ₦1 trillion? They've not. How much is our budget?
The issue can't be dealt with this policy alone. It's an holistic issue that should be dealt with proper, true federalism. Every state should take care of themselves.
And it should be subsequent, not.
You can't. Our problem in this country.
You can't backdate.
You shouldn't backdate it. Yes.
You can't backdate your policy. They fixed those roads already. You have to pay them back.
Exactly. ₦1 trillion. Right. Daily Sun. 2023 presidency, ACF backs northern candidate. Kalu will come for mother's funeral, says IPOB. Airpeace, fresh facts reveal legitimate aircraft purchase. Malibu scam, AGF, EFCC clash over Adoki's extradition. And governors, ministers, lawmakers, others for the Sun MD's book launch today. Okay.
Kanu will come home for his mother's funeral. He says the date for her funeral hasn't been fixed yet, but we do remember that he jumped bail. And he's saying that he will definitely, he's planning a proper funeral for her, and he will be there. So we'll see how that works out for him.
Malibu scam, who has that story? Yeah, that story. Somebody, okay, AGF, EFCC clash over Adoki's extradition. All right. Let's move on to Vanguard. Fish out killers of Kogi PDP woman leader, says Buhari. Nigeria's external reserves fall to 22 months low. Senate moves to include constituency projects in annual budget. Showore, Sarah petitions AU over harassment of sureties, Falano. Hate speech proponents of bill will be killed first, says Ikoko. Sponsor says of the hate speech says that death penalty will be amended to respect Nigeria's wishes. 37 million Nigerians now have unique identity. And Lagos Gridlock Task Force gets clamp-down order on traffic offenders at Mile 2, Festa Kigondo. Okay, let's talk about the major headline, the woman that was killed in Kogi.
Okay, so the president, through his spokesperson, was just saying that this is wrong. And I think the word he used was bestiality, as far as is concerned, and that this is no longer within politics anymore, where you have to murder someone and kill her the way that she was. This is, as far as is concerned, criminality.
The response came how many days after?
Yes, and well, the thing is...
Yeah, but you see, we must keep this story alive, because if I was governor of that state, I mean, I'll step aside, because why would somebody die in the name of politics? You not even us die. You burnt her alive. You were hearing her sound until she totally died, and she was burned to ashes. That for me is barbaric. So me that if I became that governor, I'll just be I cannot be the leader of those kind of people. I will just step aside and just, in fact, I'll leave.
Yeah, I like the tone of the message. I like the tone of the message. It's very firm. It seems, I mean, given the tone, I'm hoping that proper investigation will go, and then these people will be caught.
It's already a full week after this happened. The minimum I would have expected would have been arrests that have been made. So having to hear now that we're calling for arrest of the people a week after, it just doesn't, it's a good body language.
So nothing is going to happen, really. I'm using all this country. What's going to happen? We'll be here together. We'll be here together.
I'm hoping you'll be proven wrong.
Yes, exactly.
Sadly, I share your sentiments, but I'm hoping they'll prove us wrong.
We'll continue to remind Nigerians.
And there'll be convictions of life imprisonment for these people, in the minimum.
In this our country?
No, I think they'll be arrested and convicted. I believe so. Because they are well known in the community.
I'm happy that you are very optimistic. I really wish I could share that optimism. Okay, let's find one more story. Senate moves to include constituency projects in the annual budget. Who has that story? Let's take one more. Let's see. Hate speech. Somebody should have that story. Okay. They're removing death penalty. Finally.
Yes. So he's saying the sponsor of the bill, Senator Sabi, I think. Sorry, I forgot his name. So he's saying that given the criticism and public outcry and the feedback, that is something, the penalty for hate speech is something that they will be looking into. So for me, two things came out of this. It shows, my question is, how long does it take? I mean, what is the process that it takes before a bill passes the first reading? Secondly, we now know how important it is for us to raise our voices when it comes to things like that, and that, it would be reflected in the sort of policies that eventually...
Okay, Nigerian,
stop shouting.
Nigerian Tribune, Kogi PDP woman leader, killers must be brought to justice. You've heard this before, I beg. Let's move on to the sponsor of death penalty. Okay, we just talked about that. 27 dead as plane crashes in homes in DR Congo. Kaduna residents lament demolition of houses. Reps flag off probe of SIM swap fraud. Kogi West PDP Melaye to boycott November 30th rerun. Okay, which story are we taking?
So
demolition?
The Kaduna residents lamenting. So at least 300 houses have been demolished or put down in Kaduna State by the Kaduna State Urban Planning Development Agency. And this is along with plans to, to modernize and develop their states. So people are lamenting that they were not notified before their buildings were put down and a lot of other issues. So recently I did a search for a client who's been trying to get building approval for his building in Lekki in Lagos. And once I did that, I found out that it was under Lekki acquisition. And immediately I was doing it, the officials were saying to me, the person would not understand it, he will never take it. They will usually continue building and hoping that maybe the state government would then waive that acquisition, which government might have marked that area for a particular form of development or a specific kind of housing, and be thinking, okay, government will just let it pass.
Are they saying
people do that, people contract willingly. So the procedure is that when you want to buy an area, you go and search and see if that area is free for your development to happen. Not that you buy it first, build, and then be saying government might waive it in 20, 30 years. So this might be what they're falling under now.
Our heart goes out to the people that live in Congo Democratic
Republic of Congo, yes.
Republic of Congo, because the plane took off and shortly after crashed, killing 25 people, including people on ground. Totally 27. And so the small plane. So really.
Our hearts go out to them. The Kogi murder is really bothersome. Yeah. We just really hope that somebody is brought to book and the woman gets justice. That's what we demand, justice. All right, let's go on a break now. When we come back, Whew, a lot of our hearts were broken over the weekend because one man we love and respect was charged with quite a few allegations. We'll discuss Nigeria's thoughts on it and what are your general views on this matter. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So over the weekend, a story broke out about the founder and CEO of the Nigerian airline Air Peace, who has been allegedly charged with bank fraud and money laundering in the United States. This news has come as a rude shock to many of us, especially considering his recent heroic act of bringing in people from South Africa due to the xenophobic attacks. Now, we'd like to open our phone lines to hear Nigerians' views on this. You can call us on 070-806-6814. You can also tweet us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. We must remind Nigerians, these are just allegations. Anybody can be proven guilty or not guilty. So we're just discussing it because a lot of Nigerians felt that, listen, it was a rude shock. I would like to hear their general concept of what happened. So first of all, I'd like one or two of us to explain to those who have no idea what happened. Tell us in a nutshell exactly the charges of money laundering that he was charged with. Mariam, want to help us?
Okay, so, I mean, there were so many charges and, you know, a lot of legal language, but from what I understood, like there's a allegation of, or he's been charged with something that could be explained like round tripping. So this is like a sort of where you use, okay, so there are two explanations. Where you have like a personal account, and we know that your business is supposed to be separate from your personal self. And it seemed like he had used he has a personal business called Springfield, which he created in the United States, which belongs to him. And he's doing business in Nigeria with that company as if it's a separate entity, but it is not. And in America, I can't get away with it. A lot of Nigerians are saying that in Nigeria, it is wrong as well. But it's something that we do and can get away with. So it may be our poor business practices that he has sort of carried on in America. But, you know, this is a man that seems to have been in business for a long time. Could that be it? Then also there's an allegation of him moving money from a Niger Delta Amnesty Group, funds that were meant for Amnesty Group, to the account that opened the Air Peace airline. So those are some of the allegations.
For me, that was the most disturbing information, in that the round tripping is that's personal fraud. That's a man defrauding his own company, defrauding the country because there was a forex related, because he was accessing dollars at official rates at a cost that young small businesses like I can't get where we need it, but he got it and he was using it. So that one is him and he will deal with it. But when I read about the fact that the funds allegedly used to establish Air Peace, some of it was gotten from the amnesty fund given to the Niger Delta. Yeah.
And he was a consultant for training.
And it was because he was a consultant for the trainings going on in the amnesty program. I feel my heart breaks. My heart breaks because I'm a young Nigerian, ambitiously desirous of setting standard and being that person they will look up to and say, yes, Tokwe made it, I will make it too. And I look up to these people and saying, this person made it, Tokwe will make it too. And I keep getting my bubbles burst over and over again when I hear that some of these people made their funds through their wealth. Allegedly through questionable means. So if you have opportunity, and we see it, the obvious corruption in our country, the obvious decay in our sectors, in the public sectors, the obvious decay in the Niger Delta is showing that funds meant for that area did not trickle down to those it's supposed to get to. Okay. And so when we see it everywhere in the health sector, those that get contracts for the health sector, those that get contracts for roads, when we take funds meant for things into other places, people suffer.
Right, let me come to Onyema on this.
It's sad.
Onyema, your thoughts on
I read it everywhere, and what bothered me was that, you know, falsified documents were involved. So the letters of credit with which he generated about $20 million, over $20 million in the U.S. economy, were supposed to be falsified documents, and he leveraged on his position as, a business leader and airline executive in Nigeria to do that. So this just likened to the same facts as that of Invictus for me. Yes. And, when we have a person that, large like that we are looking up to, that you find them, not having clean books in their businesses. The amnesty one, that one finally just broke my heart, because it was later on I read about that one. But initially, when this
there are also conspiracy theories saying that why is this coming now? Yes, Boeing is obviously not happy that because we were just celebrating that he just bought 2 planes, I think, from Embraer. I think 2 weeks in Dubai actually signed it.
On his own side, he's saying that these were transactions that are verifiable.
Yes.
That they were done at the American embassy in Nigeria, and that Boeing had time to verify all the documents.
So why would Boeing now come around and say that they were not approved, so they are fake? So the point is that there's also this conspiracy theory that Boeing is actually in collaboration with other of his competitors are the one that initiated this. That's one conspiracy theory. And that conspiracy theory is saying that could he also have known of these allegations and found a way to, warm his way to our hearts in the last 1 year? We don't know. Let me take this call. Good morning. Are you there, sir?
I'm there.
Yakub, thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Morayo. And good morning to all of the Morayo, you see, we say that it's an allegation, allegedly. But Morayo, you can only got yourself free in this kind of situation when you find yourself in that kind of situation here in Nigeria, not in outside the country, especially in the United States of America. Before they come out and telling you that you are caught with this, that, and that, they have already carried out a very thorough investigation. Not with due respect to our EFCC here in Nigeria, not like EFCC, not like ICPC, that fight their own corruption on the pages of newspaper until Magu comes to play, because Magu is already doing very well now in EFCC.
But Yakub, let me ask you this question. But do you know that America has their own interests too? Do you know that they could have known about this thing, kept it in the can, and suddenly because he didn't buy planes from them, they now brought it out. So they also have their own interests. So we can't assume because, they investigate thoroughly, suddenly we're going to believe every single thing they say.
See, Morayo, I quite understand what you are trying to say. But do you know that, for me, my heart was bleeding for that guy because of what he just done last 3 or 4 months ago. Because he really helped Nigerians that find themselves in a kind of situation in South Africa. But for doing that does not mean that you'll be doing a business illegally. Look at what they say. The money that made for Amnesty in Niger Delta, that is the reason why the Mr. President says that they must be audit of all the money that has been acquired for those areas. And then my distinction is this. The people come from the Niger Delta. Sometimes they always focus on Abuja, the federal government. Forgetting their people, the governor, the people that are representing them.
All right, point taken. Thank you very much, Yakub.
Yeah,
yes.
So, you know what, like the rest of you too, I was really, sad about this. But I remember at the time when he did that very selfless act of bringing Nigerians from South Africa, on his money. I was speaking to someone older, and the person had, made a snide comment that, well, what exactly does he want? The first question the person asked me that, does Air Peace already do that route? I was like, no. Then I heard weeks later, he was able to get a license. So I was like, you know that saying where they say, what an old person sees sitting down, a younger person cannot see standing up.
So he had an interest.
Yeah, so people had already, sort of heard things about him as a person. I think there was in 2014, there was an allegation that came out about this amnesty thing, so people already had questions about how he started off in the first place. It seemed like he had come out of nowhere and just, established these very big businesses. So the thing is, the question now is there real wealth? Is there true wealth? Can you ever have that sort of wealth and then it's
so you really can't blame the US if they're doing this and that they're coming out with this, because in 2014, Dipre Dikibo was the ex-militant leader forum in the Niger Delta, and he alleged that Kingsley Kuku and Onyema had defrauded from the amnesty, and we didn't have it investigated in Nigeria.
Locally.
that allegation was too strong to not have been investigated. And you remember that amnesty money wasn't appropriated. This money comes straight from the presidency. You didn't need approval for the money. The Senate didn't have to probe it. There was no checks and balance on it. So it was just a conduit pipe. You know, and we should have had it investigated, at least on the Nigerian side. It's not until you do research.
Let me take this call from Hassan and we're going to break. Hassan, are you there, Mr.?
Good morning, all of you.
Morning, sir. Thanks for calling.
Please, I really concur with Mr. Yaku. That's number one. Number two, Morayo, you see, whatsoever, we knew America, they have their own interests. And their economy is run on these laundered funds. We knew all over the world. But they tried. Do you know why? It escaped the equal eyes of our EFCC and ICPC.
But
And it's much more patriotic. Why is the patriotism coming from abroad to our country? Why? Is the question we should ask ourselves, please. And one thing is very clear. You see, most of our businessmen, that's what they do. You understand? They give with that hand, they take it with the left hand. The more you look, the less you see. Abracadabra. Good morning.
All right, let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. Still on Onyema. I don't want to say something.
Yeah. When I thought about it and the conspiracy about, America has their own interest. The U.S. isn't your friend. They will do this because they want to. And why are you taking America's statement above Nigeria's statement and all of that? And I look at it that I am all for supporting Nigeria. I'm all for supporting. This is my country. I don't have dual citizenship. I don't have anywhere else to go. However, are the allegations true or not? Is there any shred of truth to what they said? If there is, can we leave sentiments of America brought out the story? Can we leave sentiments of what's going on?
We want the sentiments because the fact that he took Nigerians from South Africa is enough sentimental reason for us to support him.
Can we deal with the issue that if somebody goes to the US now as a business to go and get funds, they will scrutinize the person?
We want to keep our business in Nigeria. The point is that, listen, I know this is sentimental and this is emotional. But sometimes we might have to play that emotional card. This is a citizen that has given everything he has to this country.
I don't agree with him.
So I think
this sentiment is what
at this moment, Nigeria should stand with him.
No, Burayo, you see the issue we have with sentiments. The issue we have with sentiments is that when a thief is close to home, you will now start understanding that this thief was nice to everybody on the streets. But do you understand that the thief that is nice to you on your streets has cost you hospitals? Has cost you hospitals. This street identity on the street has cost you many other things. But because he bought you Transformer, you will now say, let's protect him. He bought us Transformer. But where did the money for Transformer come from? It came from money that should have gone to the hospitals, money that should have gone to doing roads and schools.
I'm happy you took it that way. Go ahead.
He gave to Nigeria in 2019, but he most likely took from Nigeria in 2014. I think even if he wasn't investigated when Dikibo made that statement, if he had any integrity, he should have try to debunk it, come out with the facts.
Yeah,
because I agree with you. Dikibo might have even been the base for this investigation in the first place. 2014, 5 years ago.
I'll come to you, because I'm trying to get both sides. I'm really trying hard to, because there's some people that believe that, yes, there are allegations, we shouldn't just bash. And those are the people I'm trying to understand where they're coming from. At the same time, there's another part of saying the law was broken, stand with the truth. So there are two sides of the story, and it's important that both sides get a voice. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to answer Hassan. He was saying something about EFCC not doing enough like, the Americans seem to do. And sometimes I feel that because EFCC is Nigerian and we know how things work here, EFCC might have their hands tied if some names are dropped. Do you understand? There are some people at the very top you cannot touch. And for me, I feel that this is like what EFCC would even prefer. America is afraid of no one. They will call names, and then EFCC... I do not think that EFCC is unaware of these things, but they just may have their hands tied, and this will now make it easy for them to say this is
Let me take this call
from investigating from the very
Tunde
beginning.
in Abuja. Tunde, are you there? Thanks for calling.
Good morning.
Morning. Go ahead, please.
I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the
show. I've actually listened to some of the previous callers, and I actually think many of their suggestions were actually right. You need to consider, the first thing is that when you talk about fraud in Nigeria, people give an artificial interpretation of what fraud means. Even fraud has not been statutorily defined in many of all these established societies, like in the UK. Last time I did a course in the UK because I'm a lawyer. They had to define fraud as the high level of dishonesty. It doesn't mean you've actually robbed somebody of their money or something. It might just be an irregularity in your banking activities or something that they actually interpreted to mean fraud. That's one on one side. The issue of the source of the money for Onyema's airline actually goes to the root of how we award contracts in Nigeria. The fact that he had made substantial money from the contracts that were awarded to the Niger development doesn't mean he actually stole. The contract might be inflated. Most of the contracts they award in Nigeria are actually inflated to actually compensate rent seekers. It's just the way it happens in oil and gas, and you have the oil marketing camps and all the rest. So, and I think it's quite appalling to have a minister in our country running to support a foreign country that's alleged in Nigerians. It doesn't happen anywhere, any other country in the world, because you need to take sides with your own citizens, because many of all these countries also have their own interests. When Khashoggi was killed.
Right. All right. Thank you very much.
America. Okay.
Point taken. Thank you very much, Tunde.
Should we side our citizen, even when we know there might be truth to what the allegations that have been made? Should we be siding sentimentally? I'll side my brother, even when my brother is a thief. You know, so I'm trying to understand what he's saying, because he's pointing an accusing finger against the minister that is speaking against this said Onyema. And I'm wondering, at what point as a country will we stand for the truth? Because for every time we sentimentally support ourselves and support our brother and support our cousin and support our region, because that's how we divide it. We'll first start with, he's a Christian, he's a Muslim, or he's from my side, he's South. Let's South chop. Okay, let's a Yoruba man chop. As long as we keep dividing along every line except the line of truth, then we'll continue to have a country that we're not proud of. So I am supporting anybody that supports the truth. If there is any truth to the allegation, stand for it. Let's put sentiment aside and deal with the situation on ground. I want role models I can look up to, and for everybody I look up to, I keep getting them debunked as false people. I don't like that.
Point taken.
I support Onyema. What I would expect is that he should have his day in court and prove his innocence. So if the US government fails to substantiate these allegations, it should also go ahead and sue them. I think every person that is, that they bring an allegation against should let that trial happen. So you prove your innocence, and then you become a newborn entirely. Because it will be sad that we support him and we find out that he's convicted for these crimes like Ibori's case was, because Ibori couldn't have gotten a conviction in Nigeria.
Still hasn't gotten.
Still hasn't gotten.
Okay, so we have to round up on that, but we really wish him the best, and as you
we
said,
don't want his company to die.
Let's just hope, because this could affect over 5,000 staff he has within and outside the country.
His company to die.
And he just signed a $22 billion dollar deal with Embraer. So these are stakeholders that could actually withdraw their support.
Because of these charges.
Because of these charges. So it's bigger than we're thinking. So I really, really hope he's able to get out of this, because hey, a lot of people see you as a role model. On that note, we're going to break. When we come back, we'll discuss other hot topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So a renowned legal luminary, Chief Afe Babalola, said he rejected ministerial appointments twice. According to him, one cannot work with the present type of civil servants in this country. The civil servants are the problems in our country. None of them can work the way I work. I would create instant enemies if I had accepted to be a minister. So everybody thought about this comment. I thought, let's see, is he right? Let's hear your own thoughts. You can call us on 070-8066-8014. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweet. Civil servants.
He's very right. Actually, the thing is, a a lot of times when we finish discussing on the show and I go back home and I think about it or have conversation with my husband, and what we arrive at is we are attacking the executives and political office holders rather than attacking and dealing with the machine that runs the system. The civil service is the machine that runs Nigeria as a system, institutionalizing good and bad. So we can't have one person just simply change the institution. They can, but they would need to first change that machinery so that we would churn out the right kind of things, because that's the bulk of it. So when Afebalola said this thing, I felt only you can say the kind of thing. At least you have gone to the level as an individual to make this statement, and nobody would counter what you're saying. It makes sense. Okay. But how long are we going to keep saying that this place is bad, I'm not going to go there?
So I read an old article by Punch, and he was talking about how corruption got into the civil service. And he said that and that article sort of puts the blame on the military. It says the way that the civil service was run is you pay your dues, you walk through the ranks, and then you get to become PAMSEC, DG, and things like that. The military came and started imposing people. So you have worked so many years, you expect to get to the top, and then someone is imposed over you. Someone who has no idea of how it works. And then if you were to speak up for something that was not done right, you were punished. You would be suspended or just removed completely. So then, yes, and these people would come, take whatever they can take, and leave. So civil servants have found a way now to sort of protect themselves. They know that, well, I may work here for as long as I can, but it doesn't mean that I will get to the very top. Anything could happen. So they found ways to become corrupt. So the thing is, every time we do things like that, where we do not follow a principle or we truncate a principle, it would affect us down the line. Imagine what was done during the military years, affecting us today, that people have, it has now become norm, to not do the right thing.
It's really norm, because I have a bit of interfacing with the civil service a lot because of the kind of work I do. In Lagos particularly, and maybe federal in the future. But what I know is that in 2008, I saw a different civil service in Lagos. My auntie worked with the civil service, and the moment Babatunde Fashola became governor then, it was a new order. So it was about leadership. It's about who is heading the civil service at any point. She would resume as early as 8, and sometimes she's holding meetings till 11. I had to keep the family running for her. So I know that it's whoever is heading, and you have within the civil service some of the most qualified people that you can imagine. Also, you have some people who are touting on the side, claiming to be civil servants. Because, like you explained, when it was the military time, they simply needed to put the books anyhow. So just put something, let me stamp it and sign. And that order sort of remained when they needed to cover up. But that is not the civil service in general. Let's say, could you make such a general statement like that covers a large number of people? I think is a bit unfair.
We had this same former governor of Lagos State. We had a chat with him talking about his work as a minister, and he also explained to us the challenges of having to run with the federal ministry and the challenges that those people present, and how he's been working to manage them. Whether we like it or not, you have a minister, you have a governor that comes to meet a permanent secretary that has been there for 20 years. So, yes, some governors are able to say, this is the way I want it to work, and say that this is the system I want to put on ground, and they force everybody to comply. But we have imposed it on them. We have not made it the culture permanently, because it hasn't consistently trickled down after his government.
So that's why change has to be ground up.
You can't impose.
And the thing is, I mean, I've also had the opportunity to work with quite a few civil servants most recently, and I realized that many of them are actually very, very qualified people. They know their job. But I think that we need to find solutions such that, like, technological solutions to make their lives easier, because I found that civil servants are used to the old way of just pushing papers and pushing files over and over. That makes work difficult, and even for citizens who want to get things done. It's difficult because there was a time the gentleman came, he wanted an approval from one unit. They told him, oh, your file has gone to this other office. He got to that office. The file is there, and somebody else. So he was tracing the file. In a time where there's email, where you can just email something and then get a response. And everybody is within that network.
Let me explain this leadership thing that I mentioned. So I needed to, to petition a particular thing that happened within the civil service. The right parasite I should petition, ministry I should petition, I petitioned directly. I found out that my paper died. It never got anywhere. And my client was on my neck waiting for something to be done. So I called on a friend that, how else can I do this thing? And he said, go through the Attorney General. The moment it was legal, and this person was the former Attorney General was such a leader that demanded that things should be done in the order that it should be done. That same ministry was the one that answered to him. And immediately I was someone that my matter was dealt with. Sometimes, it's about the head. I'm telling you, someone would demand that culture of the right thing to be done before it is changed. We mentioned, Miriam just clarified how it was disorganized. So now we need to put it back in check. And who will, if everybody is saying, I can't work with this crop of civil servants?
Yes. Yeah, so I get you, Nima, which is there has to be someone that takes charge. And I also understand what Tokwe is saying is that when you take charge, you're there for a tenure, you take charge and you leave, and then it goes back immediately to default settings.
It goes back because the new leader allows it to happen. Maybe the new person that is heading doesn't even have an idea how it should be done.
I understand why it is stronger than one individual. You must grow an institution stronger than one. As long as one individual can break or make an institution, then you have no power.
I agree with you. Let's start from the problem to the answer. What's the problem with the civil servants? What's the problem? Exactly.
Inefficiency.
People, inefficiency. Yes. So that's the issue. Now, if we introduce some kind of system to make them more efficient, they'll get the job done. So the individuals themselves know the job, but that's where leadership comes in. Where we introduce either technology, more training, where they're exposed to more information, because all over the world, many people that work for the government, they are actually not your A level or top line where they go to, maybe they're the master's degree or the PhD holder.
You'll be sure.
I'm not saying that we don't have that. What I'm saying that outside the country, somebody, you leave secondary school, you don't want to go to college, you go straight into government. Okay. Or you go to two-year college, you go into government. The point is that you get trained and you're exposed to software that makes you more efficient. The point I'm trying to make is that if our problem with civil service is that they're not efficient, our job as a leader is to introduce things to ensure to make them more efficient. So that's what we're asking for.
Yeah, so I have a few personal relations with people who work in the service, and you have a group of people where, this particular sector, they have meetings, they have trainings where it shows you what you are meant to do. And they have a problem, not just with inefficiency, but, little corruption within, where the staff have found a way to make money from the process that is meant to be free. And then if you're the one that speaks up, you go. Because everyone else is benefiting from this, and then who are you? Comes from nowhere, and then you think that you can. So apart from the inefficiency, there's that. Then
can you erase that anywhere in the world? Really? No. There's corruption. That would happen.
So the thing is, when they have created like a proper way to do things, we still find people, making that short change and shortcut. So it doesn't matter who the person is as a leader, or who comes to lead them for a period. If the person is good, as we mentioned, but the mentality, the mindset is, I'm supposed to be here. Where I work is where I chop, and this is what they have turned it to.
So let me explain what I meant.
You have to round up on this.
Okay, very, very terribly is the people problem and the corruption within the civil service, which we must admit, because I have also suffered it. But I found ways to check it. When you continue to petition in a particular thing, whoever is head will be forced to do something about it if you're not keeping quiet. Whoever is head can also put, like what we have with the IPPS that the president is proposing now, to curb corruption. So once you keep putting in measures to curb this, eventually we'll have
as a country, as long as we don't prioritize meritocracy on every level, we would have a problem. Because whoever is brought to head a department must be merited to be there. Because when you bring a leader to head a department, I've seen in the civil service, it's not good enough. The people there will know it's not good, and they will just be listening to him, and they'll be nodding their head.
I've also seen a good leader who has been made disabled because he cannot do anything. No, because they are not supported.
When you have merited it, you have gone through the ranks, you rise up, you have earned their respect. What we have is imposition, and we can never grow with imposition. People must merit every role they get. They would have led their way up there. As long as we don't solve that problem, we're on a long thing.
Meritocracy. So somebody who's been corrupt, somebody who's been corrupt from the ground, now rise all the way.
Can also be corrupt.
Listen, there are different times you have to impose.
Meritocracy, not certification. Not necessarily certification.
I'm saying you're working in the civil service, and you've been the corrupt person, you've been the one that settles everybody, and gradually you get all the way up. You not be the chief settler.
If the system,
it's because the system allows you.
Clean. No, a clean system is what we want. We don't want a leader to impose it on us. A leader would encourage.
Some impositions are necessary.
What she's saying is that there are cases where it's not an imposition, where that person gets to the top because he's part of that
bad
system.
So we need to impose to clean up the system. So it's not so much about that. It's more of that.
Checks.
For us to solve that issue of
because many of them will not talk.
Civil servants, we need to help and ensure that they are properly trained to do the job. Yeah, it's a holistic problem. Unfortunately, that's all we can take on that. When we come back,
we did not finish it.
We are going to bring in a guest to discuss the issues we are having with cyber crime. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Welcome back. So the issue of civil service, we couldn't thrash it properly because it's bigger than this 10 minutes conversation. So we'll make it another topic for another day where we can bring in civil servants and bring in other people who can then give us the various sides on what makes them sometimes inefficient and what makes it difficult and what makes corruption thrive within the civil service. It's really something we need to talk about. But now, let's move on to the issue of cyber attack. With us, we have incidents of cyber attack often rob businesses and individuals like me of their hard-earned money, privacy, vital information, and data research has shown that most cyber threats are largely perpetrated via mobile devices, and this has deterred so many individuals from online activities due to fear of possible attacks. Joining us on the show is an expert into cyber security, Dr. Olalekan Ogunleye. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you for having me.
You can call us on 070-806-68014. You can also tweet us at TVC. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. This is so close to home because I have experienced it before. A few years ago, somebody hacked into my Facebook and was collecting money. Now, as I speak to you, 2 accounts are working. I don't even know how to go about it because one is on Twitter and one is on Instagram. They've created accounts in my name and they are defrauding people. Now, I'm trying to find a way to get them arrested, but I don't even know how to do it. These are 2 different accounts, one on Twitter, one on Instagram. So I recently, it was even not last week or 2 weeks ago that even Onyema sent it to me. I wasn't aware. So this is so it's really close to home. And they're defrauding citizens. And every single day they scroll up our legitimate email, Instagrams on the screen. You think Nigerians will take the right one from the screen, but no, they'll be following those other ones. So these things are obviously prevalent. What can we do to protect ourselves or our accounts from being hacked by these scammers?
Okay, so the first thing that I think we should do when it comes to the issue of cloning of social media accounts is basically most of these social media companies like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all those, Pinterest and the likes, they actually have a situation or a platform where you can report such thing. And if you report them, they are actually, they can be closed down immediately. And yeah, so you can report those things. Those kind of things are more or less like identity theft. So which is basically different from what you can refer to as cyber crime. So it's a crime on its own, but it's more or less like an identity theft. A situation where, because I know Morayo is the host of Your View on TVC, I know she has connection. I just use her personality in a real life now, in a physical sense, and I just use her personality to defraud people. So for me, I can say Morayo is my friend, she's the friend to the family of my family and all those things. It's more or less the same thing when it comes to the social media.
Is it the same as when someone uses your email to send message or sort of clones your email and sends messages to people? Is it the same as her crime or is that cyber crime?
Yes, so we can call that a cyber crime, but because before you can actually get to that stage of cloning somebody's email, you would have done a lot of stuff. Let me give you an example. An example is what Obinwanne Okeke did.
Invictus.
The Invictus CEO. Allegedly, yeah, what he allegedly did. So what he was accused of was the fact that he sent an email to the CFO of that particular company in America. I can't remember the name of that company. The email contains a link. So that link looks like a real link. And the CFO, being the CFO, I mean, the CFO is not supposed to be technical, So he or she clicked on the link, and via Office 365, because most of the companies in America are actually using Office 365. So he or she supplied his or her email or password, and then that link captured the email and password and the data. That's what he allegedly used to hack, to use that particular CFO email. And then he used the CFO email. It was allegedly used the CFO email to send email to the finance department to raise a purchase order of about $11 million. And that's basically what happened. So before you could have done that, that kind of thing, you use a cyber crime activity called phishing.
Yes, I've heard that.
So let's talk about how to secure our various handles on social media. Recently, my family group, my siblings group, we found out there was a strange number on the group, on our WhatsApp group. We didn't even notice on time. We thought we were talking with our elder sister, and later she was sending messages that she's not been seeing our messages. So somebody broke into that group. We all had to find the security somehow for our phone. So how exactly do you secure your social media handles such that people don't come into it and start to transact, like that group, for instance, with you using your number? Because people would have thought, if it was a group, for instance, that it was defrauding, everybody would have believed that, you know, it was the same person and most likely be liable for someone else's act. How do we secure that exactly? Okay,
so if you look at something like that, this boils down to awareness. Let's use that, your scenario, the WhatsApp scenario as an example. It is a situation whereby when you're creating group, there are some things that we need to follow. There are some steps that you need to follow. You need to make sure that only admin can add a member to that group. So if you leave that group to anybody, that anybody can join the group via a particular link. So if you go to WhatsApp, on that group, if you click on the info, that line of that group, it shows you where you can copy a link.
Yes.
So for people to join that WhatsApp group via that link. If you do not set the security of that particular WhatsApp group, there could be possibility that somebody within the group has actually copy the link and send it to that person to say, join via this link. If you allow it to be open, anybody can join. You have actually opened that particular link to anybody to join. And if that group is a sensitive or a secured group where you want to make secure transaction, you have to make sure that you make that security settings so that anybody cannot join unless the admin had that particular member. Yeah, so to secure anything, that boils down to awareness. You need to understand what goes on within even the mobile device that you are using.
Yeah, so I run an online group, and I have to sometimes put a link out for people to be able to join that group. Yeah. But recently, what I do is I send it to the people directly instead of just putting it where anyone can reach it. But I've had a few instances where it seems like someone joined the group and not really for the best, you know, for the reason the person is meant to join the group. And all I did was block the person. Is that enough to protect my group?
Yeah, once you block that person, the person cannot join the group again. Okay. But the truth is, if you look at, let me use the cloud. This time, Google Cloud, Google Apps. So if you share a document online, if I create a Google document online and I want to share the document with anyone, there's a settings that say anybody that has the link, irrespective of who the person is, as long as the person is in possession of that link, the person can actually have access to the group. There are some extra security settings that you can make.
Are there those small things they write on that?
So this one we're talking about online, the one I was talking about is the one where you just receive debit alert on your phone.
Yeah.
Where you didn't do any transaction, and you're just receiving alerts, and you have your card detail with you. Can you help us educate our audience on what are the means? Now I know some of them. What are the means with which your card details can be used and how we should protect our card? That's number one. Number two, should we be scared of putting our card information online? And what are the things we can look out for on a website before putting our card details there?
Okay, so we should remember that when you are transacting online, or let's use a general term called e-commerce. Yeah. Let's say e-commerce. When you are making e-commerce transaction can happen on a website and it can happen on a mobile app. So the very first thing to look at when you are transacting online on the website is that always check the address on the address bar of that particular electronic commerce website where you are making a transaction. If that website does not have HTTPS, it means that every transaction you are making is not secure and it's susceptible to eavesdropping. Eavesdropping means that there could be man in the middle who might wanted to conduct an attack.
You said HTTPS.
HTTPS. Yes. Okay. However, it may have HTTPS. Always make sure that there's a lock.
The padlock.
There's a padlock.
I see that.
If there's no padlock in that, that means the person has not secured the owner of that particular online store have not secured the site.
I'm done explaining this transaction. I didn't look at all those things.
Yes, many people don't look out at those things.
Then the other part of
let me take this call. I'll come to you.
On your card.
Let me take. Oh, sorry, lost that.
Sorry. I know that there have been scams that nannies or somebody came to visit you and they take the number on your card. People don't understand that you can take the number on a card and do transactions with the number on the card.
Really? A card number?
Yes.
I don't understand.
How?
Your ATM card?
Your ATM card. You can use the number on the ATM card. You don't know? Okay.
Because the number is basically what you use on online transactions.
The 3 security...
You can, they take the front and the back.
The 16-digit number.
Once they take the front and the back, they can do any transaction online.
Yeah, but how would the person get in?
No, the person can snap your card.
They snap your card front and back.
I mean, who is the person that would...
Exactly. They snap your card front and back.
I mean, who is the person that would...
Exactly.
She just many people get their help, the ATM cards and all that. So I mean, so if I do the, but she doesn't have my PIN. Okay, she has my PIN.
No, you don't need the PIN.
She just needs your card.
Yeah, if she has the front, the ones in front, the last 3 at the back, of course.
She doesn't need your PIN.
Can you just expand on that?
Actually, unless is in Nigeria now, basically you can't use that card, the number alone, without the PIN.
In Nigeria now?
No, I said unless the reverse is the case in Nigeria. In most places, you can't use that card without the PIN. Okay. However, even if you have the PIN, there's what we call two-factor authentication, 2FA, where in most countries that I know, for instance, let's say South Africa. South Africa basically have the mobile app that is connected to the bank mobile app that is connected to the phone, to your account. So when you make an online transaction, you have to receive, because if you know, there's every possibility that the person knows your card number, your PIN, and the CVV, the 3 number at the back. So if they know the 3, they still don't want to trust that you are the person that you say you are. So we want you to prove to us that you are who you say you are. That means you must have your phone number. I mean, your phone with you. Your phone with you. Right. On your phone is your mobile app, like the Access mobile app, Diamond mobile app. So on that mobile app, the moment you want to make a transaction, it sends you a code using that mobile app.
If you don't have the phone,
if you don't have the phone, that transaction will not go through. So that security is actually, that's security. That's what I'm saying.
I've experienced that before.
But over the weekend, I tried to buy credit online, because I had to call my regular line was going. So I bought on one of these networks, and the money was deducted from my bank. And I tried to call, and I still didn't have credit to call on my network. I called the network and said, just now, you people have defrauded me, and found out it was my bank who defrauded me, and until we speak now, it's not been reversed. That's over 24 hours. So what exactly is the cause of that when it's your banking app itself that you are buying from and this happens? What happens?
Yeah, that's a security. I mean, we could say is a security issue, but a technical glitch, which I think the regulation, the NCC should actually look. The regulator should actually look into. So the thing is, there's a kind of agreement, MOU, between the telecom operators and your bank. So they've given some pins, some tokens to your bank, and say, if your customer wants to buy, give them this token. So you are not necessarily connected to the mobile operator, you are connected to your bank because they have the PIN in their possession. So what then happens is that maybe there's a network problem at that time.
No, but the network was quick to send an SMS that I didn't see until after speaking with them that this transaction did not go through. Okay. And my bank has deducted till now, they've not reversed.
Yes, as I was saying, there are different systems that are communicating with each other. So it's like you want to communicate with Morayo, you have to go through me. I have to tell her that give this thing to Morayo, but you have given it to me. So mine, the moment I call it, there's a system that these mobile operators used to charge. In technical terms, they call it AAA. So it's authentication, authorization, and accounting. So accounting comes first. For instance, when you make a call on your phone, all the money that you have on your credit balance is taken immediately. So the reason why that is taken is because we don't know whether you are going to talk over it or not. So that's basically what happened. So if you overuse the thing, they charge you. But now what happened is that you have requested for airtime. Your money is deducted immediately. Now I've deducted your money and I'm going to her. Then
we have to round up. I think I'll tell you I'm lost somewhere. But my own is that I know that it's clear to you, yeah. But my own case now, for someone like me, I need to report those people.
And we need to protect our accounts more. I think that Nigerians should read. Because every time they
fine
give
prints.
us
we don't read the fine prints.
You need to read and be aware because they will ask you to do two-factor authentication before accessing your account. For every Facebook account or WhatsApp and all of that, you must have a two-factor identification.
This one's created a new page.
So when you have verified your own account, you can then report any false account. So you must authenticate your own account by filling the necessary form. Don't just open an account and leave it. You must do your two-factor verification. So you are in authority to report any other account. So I think that even with our Instagram, our Facebook, our WhatsApp, you must put your number, put your email, so that you need both of them to access. If not, they will defraud people with your name.
All the social media handles now actually have two-factor authentication. So it's then the moment you get to them and say, my account has been cloned, they will ask you to report the account you suspect of being cloned. But another thing that most Nigerians don't actually look at is...
we have to round up, unfortunately.
May I quickly inform that when we took the papers, we said the refund of state projects should not be in retrospect. It's actually the order. So the government has done the value of those roads and they are paying the states, and some states have already been paid. But it's subsequent that they should not do roads for federal government again.
Okay. All right. Unfortunately, that's all we can say. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a fabulous day. Bye-bye.